Hey everybody, Demetri Panos here, and to host another episode, a special episode. Tonight's a very special episode of KDM. KDM standing for Kit, Demetri, Movies, and today's special episode will be the Academy Award nominations.
For
Of course, we're
2024.
not going to 2024. And next to me, or above me, below me, however you're viewing this, is my good friend and co-host, and she is the Kit in KDM, Kit Bowen. Hey, how are you, Kit?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I am wonderful. I am moderately great. Um, so yes, we have the Academy Award nominations. We're not going to do the whole list, folks, because we got things to do, and so don't you. so, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off at the top five, and we're going to start off with Best Supporting Actress. We're going to start off with the Best Supporting roles, both male, female, supporting, lead. We're going to do director, and then film, and we're going to talk about it. Our thoughts, and we're going to talk about who we might have wished to have been in there and everything. We're going to try to stay away from controversy and whatnot because this is kind of a fun show. So but we'll all wrap it up and we'll give our thoughts on what we think about these nominations.
Okay.
So that's it. So why don't we get started? So we decided we're gonna each say, oh, so best actress. We're gonna switch off. So Kit will list it, then I will list it, and we'll talk. Kit will list, we'll talk, I'll list, we'll talk, up until we get to the end. And we can even split all the 10, I think it's 10 movies for Best Picture this year.
You can rattle them off if you want to. That's fine.
Okay. All right. So Kit, I always, like I said, it's just the gentlemanly right thing to do. Ladies first. Why don't you kick off the show? Kick off
All
our
right. Well,
special edition.
best supporting actress, we've got nominees are America Ferrara for Barbie, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, Divine Joy Rudolph for The Holdovers, Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, and Jodie Foster for Nyad. I think this is a good list. It's a good list.
Outside of Nyad, yeah, it's a great list.
Oh, well, I thought Jodie Foster was fantastic in that.
The Netflix movie. It shouldn't be in there. No offense to Jodie Foster. I work with her.
Demetri.
Nope. Not going to get off it. Hey, Netflix today was quoted today as saying that the theatrical business is not our business. They said that today. The woman that's right next to Sarandos. So I don't outside of that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very, I had one surprise and it wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't Nyad. Did you have a surprise in this category? I had one.
You talking about America Ferrara?
No, I had a feeling that she might get in. I mean, that monologue in Barbie was, I had a feling she might. For me, the surprise was Emily Blunt. I mean, I really liked Oppenheimer, but of all of the performances in the movie, she was good. I just thought that there was some better,
she's been touted as getting a nomination, so I wasn't surprised by that. I actually was surprised by America Ferrara only because, yes, she did give that great speech, but I don't know. I didn't feel like, I don't know. I just didn't think she'd get it, but she did. So
she did.
Personally think that Divine Joy Rudolph is probably Randolph is gonna get this. Randolph, because
I kind of think so too at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of locks, I think, in this year's Oscars.
I think there are some locks. I think there were some locks, and I think there were some dogfights.
There's a little bit of dogfights. Yeah, a little bit of dogfights, but for the most part, I think they're mostly locks, and she's definitely one of them. I think she's been getting all the accolades. Of course, now I say this, But and I told you this before, not to say that the SAG Awards are an automatic, predictor of an Oscar. It's certainly not, but generally speaking, they do kind of coincide. So we'll see what happens with the SAG Awards, which I think is next week or no, the end.
February 24th, I thought you said. I forget,
Yeah,
but it has been your mantra.
yes. And
It
it's
has
just a
been your
final.
mantra.
It's just a final, like like a final sort of, it's supposed to all the predictions and
Mhm.
everything. It kind of gives you a little bit more of a condensed
Right.
look at what you're gonna do. So
I
yeah,
got
for
you.
me, I think it's gonna be Divine. You?
I mean, I think so too. Only because it just seems that things are going that way. We still have what is it? We still have a month and a half of campaigning. We'll
Yeah,
see. But she seems to be at least front runner for now.
yeah,
I think for the most part, it was a really, I thought it was a decent list.
yeah, yeah.
So why don't we move on to Best Actor in a Supporting Role? I've got Sterling K. Brown from American Fiction. Also Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. Ryan Gosling in Barbie. And Mark Ruffalo from Poor Things. For me, there was, albeit, um, it was a pleasant surprise for me. I didn't know or I didn't think this person would get in there, but I was happy that he did because I think he's very deserving. He's a very talented actor. We've talked about him before, and that's Sterling K. Brown from American Fiction, who was fantastic. He happened to be
Yep.
very fantastic in the role. Um, and
Yeah,
then,
so
right?
he got nominated for the SAG too, so that makes
Yeah,
sense to me as well. I
yeah.
think that the fifth spot's always the wild card, and SAG went with William Dafoe, but I think rightfully so, it should be Mark Ruffalo from Poor Things. I thought his performance, I thought Dafoe was great, but Mark Ruffalo was particularly funny and good in Poor Things, in my opinion. So I'm glad
He
he got the
definitely was
spot.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit bummed that we didn't see Matt Damon at
Yeah.
all
Well,
because I thought Matt Damon was there. But Robert Downey Jr. to me, and again, this is where I think this is, to me, I would love to see Robert Downey Jr. when he was so good against what? Who's going to beat him?
Robert Downey Jr. is going to win.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you said Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
sorry,
think
sorry. I misheard. I
no, no, not
misheard you.
no, not
Yes,
no, no, no.
yes, yes,
No,
yes.
Robert Downey Jr. I thought, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think Robert
And you
Downey
know
Jr.
what?
on
And
this.
he
Yeah,
deserves
I
it for
mean,
this.
it's he's fantastic. I've just been recently watching. I'll get to it later, because but I was recently watching Oppenheimer. He is exceptional.
Yeah.
He's really
I
he's
remember
fantastic in this
when we
role.
walked out of the screening together, you said, I think right off the bat, you said, I think Robert Downey Jr. is he's gonna get nominated for this.
He was just so good.
He
He
was
was
good.
so good, and he played a role unlike anything we've actually
Right.
seen him
Right.
play.
And you know what?
Um,
It's another kind of situation where he's never really been. I mean, he has been nominated before. He was nominated for Chaplin, I think.
didn't he
And then,
win
oh no, he's
that
never
Chaplin?
won.
I forget.
No, he's never won. But not for acting. He may have won for producing something. I can't remember. Anyway, he this would be a career award for him too. I think people love him. He is definitely, he had all of that horrible time in his life where he was, had to go to rehab and just all of that, and for him bounce back to get, to be part of the Avengers and the whole Marvel thing and just all of it. I think he's one of those people have always rooted for. One of those actors people root for. So
100%.
this is good for
100%.
him.
And I think Christopher Nolan really coaxed like a career best for him. And again, it was a role that you know, it's a gutsy role because he's not playing someone who's necessarily likable,
Right.
but he does it, but he's kind of swarmy.
Yeah.
Likable is not, you know, he's but he's very good. So
Yeah.
yeah, Robert De Niro, whatever. In
Yeah.
that movie.
Gosling, of course.
Whatever.
I love the fact that Ryan got nominated too. I mean, it's pretty he
Sure.
he literally made that movie. He really did, and in a lot of respects. I mean, the movie itself, you know, we've had varying opinions on that,
Sure.
but I feel like he, you know, was such a clear standout. So
Hmm.
I'm glad he got nominated, but
Hmm.
he's not going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. Again, it's relatively a decent category. And I
Yeah,
was really happy that Sterling K. Brown got nominated. You know, I just love why there's just something about him too
I
that
know. I
when he's
know.
on screen, he's really good. He's a fantastic actor.
He is.
So yeah, so why don't we move into leading roles? This is kind
Okay,
of
so I
exciting
could
too.
do let's do best actor. I'll do
Yeah.
best actor.
You want to do
Um
actor first?
yeah, yeah, we'll
Okay,
do
sure.
actor. We'll just switch it up a little bit.
That's
So
fine by me.
best actor we got Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domenico for Rustin, which I didn't see. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. I think, you know, Coleman Domenico getting in is sort of a bit of a
Domingo.
surprise. Domingo, yeah. Let me see. Did he get nominated for SAG? He did. He did. This is the exact same SAG too. So I was a little. I mean, I've heard this movie is good, but I mean, I've heard his performance in that movie is good, but the movie itself sort of. But I guess maybe I'll have to check it out. He's one
He's
of
been
these
winning a
actors.
lot of the he's been winning a lot of the satellite awards.
Yeah. Oh, that makes
You
sense.
know, he's been winning a lot of those awards.
But I
So
think this is a two-man race here. I think it's between Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy. And this is not, you know, so this one isn't as clear cut as the other two we just talked about. I
this
personally
is a dogfight.
I personally think that Giamatti might pull it out. I think he might win.
He's doing the campaigning. He started early. People generally like him, but people like Cillian Murphy too. And again, when you watch Oppenheimer, one of the marvels of the movie is that there are so many actors in it, right?
Yeah.
And he he's fantastic. I mean, I wish in this role that there could be a tie. But, you know, because
Yeah.
I loved them both equally. And whoever wins, I won't be upset. Like I won't be
Right.
upset, but I'll just feel, Killian, this was like because each of them I think are kind of like that, almost like career best,
Yes.
right? I mean, they're both really good movies.
Right. But I think,
So,
you know, I think
you know,
Killian, you know, he might be there again. But Paul again, he's been nominated a few times, never won.
mhm.
He's, you know, put in great performances after great performances. So I don't know. And he's also a darling. The Hollywood loves him.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
no,
think it might because look, to be fair, Oppenheimer's going to win a lot. So
mhm.
it could very well be that they'll pick something else. You know, they'll pick Giamatti for because
Yeah,
The
who
Holdovers
knows?
is a great movie too, but it's not going to get a whole lot of Oscars. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. But that's
it
my
could get
pick.
original screenplay, but yeah, I mean, listen, it's like it's a dogfight, and I agree with you. I think it's between those two,
Yeah,
and I love each performance. Each is different, but lends itself so much. The movies so much rely on their performances.
right.
I mean, to have a movie called Oppenheimer after the character you're playing, and if you can't shoulder that, then the whole movie fails.
Right. No,
But
he was
Cillian Murphy is
fantastic.
fantastic, and
He
the
was
holdovers,
fantastic.
he was he played the great curmudgeon that you
Yeah.
actually had sympathy for. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
he had his arc, so in you root for him. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So, best actress in a leading role. We've got Annette Bening, Naiad. We got Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller, from Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan, Mastro, Emma Stone, Poor Things. For me, I think they're going with Lily Gladstone. I think from the historic perspective, it's going to
Yeah.
look good.
And also
Listen, she wasn't.
she gave a great speech at the Golden Globes. They love that. They love that stuff. So
Yes, she did. She did. She was. You know, listen, you and
Emma's
I,
and
we
Emma's
were
won.
there.
Emma's won before. I mean, the only person
Sure.
that I always feel bad for is Annette Bening. I'm sorry. I know that movie. She actually for that movie, for me, Jodie Foster was the better role, the better performance. But Annette Bening has been passed over so many times. She won. She lost twice to Hillary Swank. I mean, I thought that was a bit of a sham. I don't think Hillary Swank should have won for uh the $1 million baby one. I think that was it, $1 million baby. Yes, boys don't cry. So
Okay.
Annette Bening and Hillary were up against each other that year. And that was for
Well,
American Beauty, one of the best performances, right?
100%. But yeah, yep. No argument for me. But
But it
the good
was
news, bad news
Hillary
yep.
Swank and Boys Don't Cry,
The
it
good
was
news, bad news is that Hillary Swank's not nominated. The
no,
bad
she's
news
not.
is
She's not
Lily
gonna win.
Gladstone is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I agree. Listen, we've talked about Killers of the Flower Moon. If you'll allow me to speak for you for a second, we both
Sure.
basically felt the same way about the movie. We weren't big fans. As much as I did enjoy Lily Gladstone, I thought that she had some scenes that were great, but she spends most of the movie in bed. She's almost a non-entity throughout much of the movie.
Yeah,
But she did have some really good monologues and scenes. So I don't begrudge her. The momentum seemed to be there. It's a Scorsese movie.
yeah,
If anybody was deserving of a nomination of that cast, it was her.
absolutely.
So I think from that perspective, yeah, I think we're in agreement that she's more than likely going to get it. I
Yeah.
would say it's a 98%, 99% lock for her
Yes.
to do it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now we go into what? Best directing,
Best
correct?
director.
Best
Again,
director.
this is uh this is also kind of a interesting category, but clearly a lock for one person. But let me read off the
I
nominees. Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese,
oh,
Killers of the Flower Moon, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for
a nice
Oppenheimer,
Irish guy.
and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. Yeah, there's no question in my mind that Christopher Nolan is finally getting his due. Just hand him the Oscar right now. Just give it right to him right now. He's absolutely going to win.
I don't disagree. I mean, I don't disagree. This is definitely his year for sure. Um, and you can't. Well, number one, let me plug a little bit the 4K, the Blu-ray of Oppenheimer. It looks amazing. It looks and sounds amazing, and it incorporates um, what he's done before Christopher Nolan because he's a huge fan of the IMAX experience, right?
Mhm.
And if you still get physical media, the Blu-rays, some of them like the Dark Knight movies, and I believe Dunkirk did it as well. The scenes that were filmed in IMAX, they do their best. They replicate it on your television screen,
Right.
so it'll go from letterbox and then fill your whole screen. Uh, they do the same thing on Oppenheimer on the disc, on the Blu-ray, and you really, well, as a viewer, I go, wow, this seems to be a commercial film And the amount of IMAX in this particular movie, Oppenheimer, that Christopher Nolan used is quite astounding.
Yeah.
I have to say,
Yeah.
we saw it in the best format. Like, there was
Yes.
really no
Yeah.
switching. Like there
Yeah.
was. We saw it in the best format that you could have. We were one of only 6 theaters, I think, in the country that
Right.
had it in the format that we saw it at. But when you watch it again on TV and you see that happen, and you're paying attention, he
Yeah.
really he filmed a lot of IMAX, like a lot of big stuff. I agree with you. Everybody else, sorry, Charlie.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, of course, we'll just say briefly, Greta Gerwig, who was nominated for the Directors Guild, didn't get a spot here. They gave it instead to Justine Tourette. I think that's how, I don't know, Tourette, I don't know how you say her name. She's French.
Treat, yeah,
But
yeah.
which, by the way, Anatomy of a Fall, I think we've talked about it a little bit. I don't know if you got a chance to see. Did you?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't, but I've watched some other movies. I should have watched that one instead of the
Well,
movie
you've
that I
you've
ended up
got
watching.
you've
But
got a
yeah,
screener of it. It's in the
I know.
neon thingy. It is a fairly amazing movie. Directing wise, not so much. It's more about the writing and the performances. So I feel like Anatomy of a Fall is it's probably going to win the category it's nominated for screenplay. I do. I feel like that's going to win, but we'll see. But yeah, it's nice to see her on there. And then the other movie I haven't seen that I'm just a little nervous to see it is The Zone of
Zone of
Interest.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's pretty horrifying to think about, having to normalize your life, have a garden in your backyard, but your wall is facing Auschwitz. I mean, ugh, this is unbelievable. Anyway, so
Yeah.
these were some interesting movies, and I think Yorgos, he seems to be a filmmaker on the that's going to keep putting out great stuff. So I'm sure he'll get to the point where he gets his Oscar too at some point. I think I like his movies. He's different, but I like his movies. Before we get into Best Picture,
Yeah.
I do want to point out that I think that there is a fun race going on between in the costumes and the production design categories, and I think
Okay.
it's a race between Poor Things and Barbie. So, in my opinion, I think because the production design in Poor Things was just fantastic. I mean, that whole steampunk, fantastical Terry Gilliam feel to it. I
I
just
don't disagree with that. Wait, but you were talking about costumes
and then costumes,
first.
same category.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
But
seeing there's a race between Poor Things and Barbie in both of those categories. But my
yeah,
opinion is I think production design will go to Poor Things, and I think costumes will go to Barbie. That's my 2 cents.
what what the hell was the costumes in Barbie?
What are you talking about?
Bikinis? Are you kidding me?
No, what are you
To me
talking
the
about?
costume.
They
I'm
had to
asking
change
you.
they had to change
I'm
clothes all
asking.
the time. And she was like, every time they'd go
Uh,
down the different, fantasy thing, all the clothes and stuff. No, you watch, that's gonna win.
I I don't see it. To me, well, you know what I feel about the movie to begin with, but costumes. I mean, over Poor Things. I don't know. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I don't see that at
Okay,
all.
well, I think you're
Over
wrong.
Poor Things. Hell, I don't even see it. I don't even see it personally. I don't see costume design over Oppenheimer, which nailed
Oh,
the
come
various
on.
different which
No.
nailed the various different time periods.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Demetri,
no, I don't see.
they don't ever go with classical type,
Yeah,
period. If it's a period piece that takes place in the 1800s, yes. But if it's just a period piece that takes place in the 1950s, no. Compare it to
yeah, it
Poor
was
Things and
very
Barbie.
there was. Yeah, listen, I'm not. I'm just saying. I think I think Oppenheimer was better than Barbie. Yeah, to me, Barbie didn't. There's nothing that stuck out to me personally in Barbie. For me, yeah, no. It to me, I was a little bit surprised um, that it was there. Um, Napoleon I kind of get, but I think that there could have been some other movies other than a movie that nobody watched. Um, but yeah, and as far as production design, again, um, you're right about I don't disagree about Poor Things. I mean, Poor Things looked fantastic, and I think it was a combination of directing, cinematography, and the production design. Much of it looked to me as much like a Monty Python movie. They
Hmm.
have that I don't even. It's just so unique to those movies, and it almost had that Time Banditsy feel, especially when we're on the ship and they're
Yeah.
looking out. That stuff looked great, but watching some of seeing the town that they built in Oppenheimer and the detail for the bomb and the tower and all that stuff too. But I don't, I can't say that Poor Things wouldn't get best production design
I
because the
think it will. Yeah.
movie captured a lot of that really well.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it will. Yeah.
yeah. So,
All right. So
should
best
we get to
picture.
best picture?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yep.
You can read them
All
all.
right. Well, let's see. We've got, and I'm not going to read all the producers. I'll just read
No.
them. Okay.
Yes.
So we've got American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall again. We've got Barbie. We've got The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. That is one hell of a list.
That is one hell of a
Um,
list.
Again, okay, so I gotta take my comeuppance here. Yes, I was disappointed. I do think that over Zone of Interest, perhaps they're over Maestro for
Maestro.
sure.
Maestro.
Maestro, Netflix. Color Purple should have been there over Maestro for sure. It didn't. That's fine. Um, and now I have to switch my attention and say Oppenheimer to me is like the best picture
Yeah.
um of all of these. I mean, the Academy could do a thing, maybe because of all of what's been said about Barbie. Maybe they do the best director to Nolan and they give Barbie best picture. I don't know, but to me, of these movies, and again, The Holdovers is a fantastic movie. I just think that it's going up when again, rewatching Oppenheimer, it's all those cylinders are working together, whether it's visual effects and sound design and sound editing, and then the
Hmm.
acting, his directing.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful picture to watch. It's engaging, it's gripping. I do think it's the best picture of the year. But can we also say that, look, we had a between Oppenheimer and Barbie, we had this Barbenheimer thing happen, right?
Right.
Both movies, everybody talks about Barbie being the highest grossing movie of the year and such, which is fine. I think without Barbenheimer, neither movie would have done as well as it's done, as
Maybe.
they've done.
Maybe. Yeah.
Christopher Nolan has his biggest movie,
Right.
right? I mean, beating Dark Knight I mean, he's like thrilled to death. And again, but I say if it was not for this Barbenheimer, I'm not saying that each movie would have failed. No, each movie in their own right would have been a hit. But I really think that this Barbenheimer man, wherever it came from,
Yeah.
it was a spark that ignited box office and it got people to the movies and got people to see a movie that they might not have watched because you
Hmm.
can't have that much money for each without some semblance of a crossover.
Yeah.
And it did, and both benefited greatly from this marketing.
Yep.
which I think is great. I personally, I thought it was fantastic. It'll never happen again, as hard as
Maybe not.
Hollywood will try. I don't think it'll ever happen again. But
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Oppenheimer, I think, deserves for Best Picture.
Oh, it's gonna win.
But I'm so glad that both those movies were out this summer at around the same time, and this Barbenheimer thing was just the likes in all my years of going to movies I've never been witness to, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I think it's definitely gonna win because it really is. It's a spectacle. It's an epic, and there really isn't any film in here that kind of, except for maybe Killers of the Flower Moon and its scope, uh,
Mm.
really gives that, best picture stamp, in my opinion. So yeah. I mean, uh it's just, yeah. I just think it's definitely a lock. It's gonna win. It's gonna win a lot of other awards too. I'm editing, I think, for sure, cinematography, probably. Um, it, we can, maybe we'll come back on after, come back on, and we can do
Well,
some
no,
of the
no,
other
I
categories.
think we should do because I would love we should do an Oscar wrap up show,
Yeah.
because there's usually something that stuns, like, and by
Yes.
stuns, like, you go, what, you know,
Yep. Yep.
there's usually something that's considered a lock and it ends up
Not.
going to something else
Yeah.
completely. But I love talking about these categories beforehand, and I love talking about it afterwards.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you at this point. I think that Oppenheimer, from a direction standpoint, I don't believe it's going to be a split.
Yeah. I don't think
Like,
so
I don't
either.
think they're gonna I don't think they're gonna share the wealth.
No.
And
Not for this one. The only caveat to that would be Killian losing to Paul Giamatti. That would be the only thing I would think, uh, where they would spread the love a little bit in a different direction. That's all. But I don't know.
right,
I don't know. You know.
I don't know either. Yeah,
but
no, I agree with you. I
it
agree
should
with
be
you, but
fun.
no, I mean, they always are. I mean, I just think we got Jimmy Kimmel again, who seems to have this down pat.
Yeah.
And listen, I always enjoy watching them. It's got to be better, and at least we're back into, like, cinema.
Yeah.
And again, I think by choosing Oppenheimer, right, you're choosing a movie that did well for the business,
Yes.
all around business, right? So this isn't
Yep.
like you're picking a Nomad Land, or no, like, you're not
Right.
picking, we're pretty much out of this pandemic for the most part, right? And so the movie did something. Who would think the movie was, what, 3 hours plus, right? If I
Mm-hmm.
recall,
Mm-hmm.
and to do the money worldwide that it has done. And again, I just, without Barbie, I don't think it would have done as well, and vice versa. I think it's
Right.
fair to say, but it's great. I love when the Oscars support the industry. And I think this year you can't really be upset for best
Right.
picture wise,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So, because so many people watched it.
Yes.
And Nolan seems to, I'm seeing him being interviewed in the trades and stuff. And I think it's, and if
Yeah.
Robert Downey, I'm sure, will kick in at some point.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I know Paul Giamatti is going to be on Howard Stern next week. So that ought to be a really fun interview. Um, yeah, it'll be a good show. For me, in the whatever Oscar pools I may or may not be in, like, I always lose it in the small ones. Best
Yeah.
short feature, best short
Yep.
animated.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's where I lose. That's where I lose.
Yep. That's always the
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Or
anyways,
something happens where we think it's a lock, and they pick somebody else, and you're like, God damn it. And then someone in the pool picked that person. So then they get,
yeah, I agree. I agree. So, But
So
we'll
yeah, so
know.
that's yeah, so we'll know soon. March 10th, I believe, is
March
the
10th. Yep, Sunday, March 10th.
I will be
And
in San Francisco.
you'll be in. Oh, is that Star Trek convention?
Yes.
I was actually thinking about trying to go to that one.
Oh, it'll be
You get some
fun.
good people. You get some good
Yeah,
people for that, but it's the Oscars, so I'm gonna stay home.
I know.
Wait, won't you be coming home? That'll be the last day of the
No,
convention, right?
I
No,
know. I'll
no.
have to watch it. We'll have to do it when I get back, but we'll definitely do a wrap up podcast
Oh
when I
yeah,
get back.
we'll do a wrap up, but you're not in a necessarily bad place. I'm willing to bet because your day. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your day will be done by the time the Oscars start, right? Because they start
Yeah,
in
kind
our
of.
time about 5 o'clock ish, right? Okay.
Yeah, we're done about 5, so I'll probably maybe miss the first half hour to whatever. But yeah,
Sure.
I'm still it's always a fun time for me to watch the Oscars,
Yeah.
and it's really the only one I watch now. I've narrowed it down finally. I don't have to cover any of the other ones anymore, so I just get to watch one I want to watch. So, and that would be the Oscars.
It gets redundant. We were lucky and we were fortunate because we got to be at One Live, our Hollywood Creative Alliance show, which was a really well done, well put, good show. We had a great time. I watched the Golden Globes. That's pretty much it. How many can I
Yeah,
watch? And I think the SAG Awards, they're going to be streaming on Paramount Plus, I believe. So I may tune into them only because it's been your mantra. SAG Awards, SAG Awards, SAG Awards.
well,
So
it's
I
just
may
a
watch it for
good.
that.
It's yeah, and then also pay attention to the Writers Guild Awards and the Director Guild Awards as well, just
Yeah,
to give you an idea on that.
right.
Although the writing thing should be interesting because Anatomy of a Fall was not. Oh no, it was. I think it was considered for Writers Guild, but it wasn't submitted for foreign film.
Right. Which is
France
weird.
decided. I know France decided to pick something else. We're like, why? So anyway,
Well, it's the same thing with RRR.
yeah,
Like a year ago, like why India didn't choose that movie for
yeah,
their international, like so
yeah,
where it could have won that. Who knows what these? I would,
right,
yeah. Who knows what these people think when they watch the movies and go,
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah. But this one's like people like this movie. Yeah, we're gonna go with the one that
yeah.
nobody reads or nobody
Well, I
watches.
I heard because Anatomy of a Fall has a lot of English in it, that's why they
Oh,
decided not to
okay.
submit it. So
That kind of makes sense to
yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
Whatever. Well,
Anyway,
it'll be fun to find out.
yep,
Kid, it's always amazing and fun to talk. I like I love these conversations together with you. And it'll be fun to talk about them afterwards.
yep,
And we should have what we should do is check. We should do a list beforehand, each of us.
yep.
We're not going to discuss it. We're not going to do a, folks, we spare you. We're not going to do a pre-Oscar show picking our things. We're just going to say, this is who I picked. We're going to compare our lists.
All right,
And
sounds
I bet
good.
you Kit wins.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All
So,
right, everyone. So yeah,
all
so
right,
stay
folks.
tuned, and
Thank you.
March 10th is the Oscars, so we'll
Yep,
come back
we're
then.
in the throes of award season. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and watching. Hope you had a good time. Please write in the comments, subscribe, please, like, and comment. Let us know
Yep.
your thoughts of who you think, let us know who you think should win, who you think will win, your whole thoughts about everything that has to do with Oscar and regarding this show. Thank you very much for
Thank
tuning
you,
in.
everyone.
Thank you for your comments in the past. We love them. We love reading them. Thank you, Kit, for being my friend. I appreciate you.
You too.
And
Mwah.
we'll talk. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll
You
talk
make me
soon.
blush. All right. Bye.
Bye.